What is up, everybody? It is Jeff from Attack at Random. We are on episode 4 now, going 4 weeks strong. That's basically a whole entire month. And yeah, thank you for sticking with us. We're going to continue going, and there's going to be plenty more episodes to come. So, to kick it off right, you know, something happened. Something happened this week that I was not expecting. Many of us were probably not expecting, but we've all been hacked. We've all been hacked, and we were trying to figure out who's to blame for this. Part of me blames the government. Other people blame Dinkelberg. But, it is what it is. So recently, everyone's social security number was hacked. So there was a recent social security hack that has been the most significant and alarming data breaches in US history, with potentially far reaching consequences for nearly every American. There was a hacking group called USDOD, U.S. Department of Defense. I don't know. So there was a hacking group, U.S. called USDOD, that claimed responsibility for stealing about 2.9 billion records. So I want you to keep in mind that they hacked and stole 2.9 billion records, which reportedly includes the social security numbers, full names, addresses, date of birth, and phone numbers of nearly every single American. Now, I don't know about y'all, but like, you know, my credit is not the best. I know a lot of people's credit's not the best. So a lot of us ain't too worried about it because, we're probably going to get denied for any sort of credit cards or loans or stuff like that. Hell, I can't even afford a mortgage right now. Like, what, 90% of Americans can't afford a mortgage either. Lots of people information got leaked or hacked, got stolen, and it's this breach is considered one of the largest data thefts ever. It's affecting a vast number of people across the country. Yeah, it's insane. We This data breach is concerning for the fact that it's affecting nearly every American. We're supposed to have trust in our government, but these motherfuckers just keep getting hacked left and right. So the crazy thing about this hack is that it was actually discovered back in April of this year, though data may have been compromised even way before that, possibly like around December or so of 2023. So the data was allegedly stolen from this place, or not place, but this company called National Public Data, and it's a company that specializes in background checks. The thing is, this company didn't disclose to the public that they've been breached until months later. So rightfully so, everybody's been pissed. So how you gonna get hacked like back in what shit? What did I say? April? No. How you gonna get hacked back around Christmas of last year and not say anything to anybody? Yo, rightfully so. People are gonna be pissed about this. So the leaked information could be used for various fraudulent activities, including identity theft, phishing scams, and more. The data reportedly includes outdated addresses and incorrect social security numbers for some individuals, which might suggest that the hackers accessed an older database for or backup. That's just like a slight silver lining. Not much, because I know plenty of people that are plenty of adult Americans that don't know their own social security numbers, or they just always fuck it up. And again, like I said, many of us can't even afford to, apply for a mortgage, apply for a credit card, apply for a simple loan. Stealing somebody's data or identity like that may not be the best use of it, but they might get away with some phishing scams. They might send an email or a letter saying like, "Hey, I'm locked up in this country. I need you to send me like 50 like $500 worth of Bitcoin over to this crypto wallet, and help me out. I'm locked up." that type of deal. The government has been just kind of in my opinion, in terms of the response. Senator Rick Scott and other officials called for accountability and demanded that the government take action to protect its citizen. But we all know how the government is. We know they don't really give a fuck about their citizens unless it's pertaining to their own wallets. And being that, actually, no, wait, now that I think about it, being that this is affecting nearly every American, I don't know why I was thinking politicians are not Americans. Most politicians are not even human beings, let's be honest. But a lot of these people probably have really good credit score. It would be hilarious to see a governor or senator that does not have a good credit score get denied for a loan or something. But yeah, a lot of these people have a shit ton of money, so I can see them being panicking over the fact that their identity might be stolen. But who knows? I'm pretty sure they have some sort of, I don't know, identity backup protection thing. I've been seeing lots of commercials about it before. Like was it the secure lock or identity lock or something like that that monitors your information to make sure it has been stolen, whatnot. I know if your identity gets stolen, it's a very pain in the ass, a very big pain in the ass to be able to, correct that and even just deal with it and get a lot of things removed. I'm just saying, with a breach this big, these people could have had the potential to be the sort of Batman to everyone's like private information. And by that I mean, you know, possibly, I don't know, going in, wiping people's records, wiping shit off people's records. I don't know. I know that that wasn't what they stole or what they hacked for, but like I mean, come on, man. Help a bunch of people out. A lot of people really need it. So I was saying, Senator Rick Scott and other officials, they just are calling for the government to have some sort of accountability, or no, they're calling for this company to have some sort of accountability and for the government to take action to protect its citizens. There's increased pressure on the administration to clarify how this happened and what steps are being taken to mitigate the damage. I think the damage is already done. There needs to be some sort of repercussion to this company, and is it repercussion? I don't know. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's so early in the morning. There needs to be some sort of we need to be compensated. There we go. The American citizens need to be compensated for this huge impact to our personal information. And I vote that we all get our credit reports sponged. Everybody just start fresh. Our data has been hacked. So, everybody just gets a free, clean slate. Everyone. Whether you owe a bunch of blah, 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 blah. Whether you owe a bunch of money to the government or other corporations and you're so much money in debt to like you owe $500 in a credit card that you forgot to pay off, and or you went to a local community college that fucked you over and now you have about $20,000 in student loan debts. I'm looking at you, local Central PA Community College. You know which one I'm talking about. It's critical for affected individuals to take steps to protect themselves. You know, so if you've been affected by this, monitor your financial accounts and just be vigilant against any sort of phishing attacks. Meaning you receive some sort of email from a Nigerian prince asking to for you to send them some monies, and then they'll pay you back because they're in some sort of legal bind and they need to get out the country type of deal. Or Ansu down the road is saying she's stuck and needs some help getting her car started and needs about $500 to replace an alternator type of deal. So besides that, just be wary and use common sense. So if you utilize identity theft protection services, and there we go, that's what it is, the identity theft protection services. There was a bunch of commercials about it back then. I remember there was a truck that had like a giant padlock that it was supposed to protect identities and stuff like that. I I I feel like people know what I'm talking about. Probably not. And just implementing strong security practices like two-factor authentications for everything. use multi-factor on literally everything. If your bank account allows you to use multi-factor, and I'm not talking about sending a text or receiving a text message with a code. No, that shit can be compromised as well. Use a alternate authentication method like the token stuff. So using a Google Authenticator, uh, Microsoft Authenticator, Duo, using there was another one that I'm drawing a blank on. Hell, I think last no, don't use LastPass. Forget I said LastPass. Do not use LastPass. Yeah, just stick with Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, or even Duo. Or I personally recommend Duo. There was another one. There was another authenticator app that I used before, and I can't remember the name of it exactly. Authy. There we go. Use Authy. Authy is another authenticator token type of deal, similar to Google Authenticator and Microsoft Authenticator. But yeah, and always remember to back up those authenticators. You can download them onto your smartphone, Android tablets, yada yada yada. You can even use Authy on a computer. Yeah, just use multi-factor on literally everything that you can. Social media accounts, bank accounts, anything that you can use two-factor authentication on. But rightfully so, the public has been kind of pissed about this, being that they discovered this breach back in April, and it was probably even being they were probably even being breached before that, and there was a delay. There's a lot of people that have been pissed. So there's been sparks of widespread concern, criticism, and with a lot of people questioning how such a massive breach could occur and why wasn't it communicated sooner. So the breach has heightened anxiety about the security of personal data and an increasing digital world. Well, you're probably wondering who the hell is National Public Data. Like I mentioned before, National Public Data is a company that specializes in background checks and public records, such like that. So if you ever had to apply for a job and did any sort of background checks, they probably got it through, National Public Data. Landlords do this as well and other entities. So their database includes sensitive information, social security numbers, addresses, date of birth, and it was a high prime target for uh these hacking this hacking group. God, I can't speak. So the group US DoD exploited vulnerabilities in the National Public Data's security infrastructure. That's how they were able to gain access. The exact details are haven't been fully disclosed, but a lot of people are speculating that it was a combination of like phishing attacks and exploiting different vulnerabilities to get into their system. More than likely, somebody in that company clicked on an email they were not supposed to and or downloaded a file and they got breached. You know, some low-level person received an email from the CEO saying, "Hey, I need you to open this file. I can't open it." Or I need you to go to this link. I'm having trouble. Can you help me out? So, and they did not verify it. Always verify with the person if you are unsure if they were actually if you're unsure if an email is legitimate. Always verify. The reason why the company delayed disclosing the breach is due to several different factors. One of them was that there was an internal investigation that uh, to confirm the extent of the breach and its impact. So they were digging around, making sure trying to get enough information of like how big the breach was, what was affected, how many people were affected, and things like that. Additionally, the sensitive nature of the data and the potential widespread panic led to more of a cautious approach. So, rightfully so, if you tell a bunch of people like, "Hey, your social security number has been hacked," they're gonna panic. They're gonna try to withdraw their money from their bank accounts. It's gonna be like a whole Y2K panic again. And then it was more than likely the company was working with authorities, federal agencies to mitigate the risk before making releasing the information to the public. However, the delay in releasing this information is has been widely criticized. Many people are arguing that the public should have been informed immediately so that they could take in proactive measures. So the large data that was leaked was reportedly offered for sale on the dark web, and two large text files that totaled about 277 gigs, which is crazy to think about. That 2.9 billion, was it 2.9? Yeah, 2.9 billion records of people's personal information, social security number. It's only about 277 gigs. 277 gigs. That is slightly more than a Call of Duty game install and or update. Actually, it might just be like about the total size of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 with Warzone and zombies installed, and maybe like an update. The data, like I said, include multiple entries for individuals, sometimes with outdated or incorrect information. So it suggests that um, they might have got this from an older backup or in an unpatched legacy system that was still in use. Monitor your credit, monitor your financial stuff, look into some identity theft protection. Given the scale of this breach, nearly every American is going to be affected. So it's more important than ever just to monitor your shit. But if you have really bad credit, you probably don't really have much to worry about. They're not going to be going after you. They're going to be going after like the high value targets, you know, senators, governors, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the breach that happened recently. Every American social security numbers got hacked. Yeah, what do you think? Drop a comment of what we should do next. Do you think you're gonna be affected? And if so, why or why not? I don't know. Just like, comment, do something. I don't know. Do something. Interact with the video. Leave a like. Let us know that you're here. Going on to the next topic news that is slightly kind of interesting, it's kind of not. There's a there was a controversial experiment to all right, so before I get into that, everybody knows global warming is a thing, right? And if you don't know that it's a thing, then why the fuck are you here? Global warming is a thing. Don't deny global warming. Shit is getting hot. Things are getting crazy. World is gonna implode. But yeah, so there was a experiment that was kind of controversial, kind of, and depending on your point of view of it, there was a Harvard solar engineering analysis that was being done. Um, so the purpose of this solar engineering, it's supposed to be a method to reflect sunlight so that it cools the Earth, and it's supposed to help mitigate the effects of climate change. Now, the the methods used, they're sort of so the methods used, they sound something out of a sci-fi movie or a video game, and it seems pretty crazy the more you think about it. Yeah, I was looking into this, and the article that I was looking into it is it's talking about a comprehensive analysis that was being done by from Harvard, and it was going over the scientific, ethical, and policy aspects of this potentially world changing technology. So, again, solar engineering is a method designed to reflect sunlight away from the Earth, cool the planet, and counteract global warming. It's getting crazy. Well, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, video game. It's a real possibility, but there hasn't been a lot of research or credit behind this. But with great power comes great responsibility. And there's been a lot of debates as well. The scientific community remains divided on whether the risks of geoengineering outweigh the potential benefits. There's even critics worrying about the unintended consequences, which could include shifts in weather patterns or even geopolitical conflicts over who controls the thermostat of the planet. So imagine starting World War III over, you know, your side of the planet being more cooler than the other. because you decided to fuck around with the weather. This is some Dr. Doofenshmirtz type of shit. Somebody creates a weather nominator, denominator, some shit. I don't know. Mm. That's a Phineas and Ferb reference if you didn't get it. So, one of the biggest concerns is, of course, governance. The Harvard analysis stresses that we need robust international policies to manage this type of technology. Without global cooperation, the risk could be catastrophic. One expert quoted the article mentioned that we can't have a single nation or a group of nations making decisions that affect the entire world. With a lot of debates going on about this, there's people are, and the reason why there's been a lot of debates is because geoengineering can have a lot of side effects. So, there be environmental side effects. So, altering the atmosphere could lead into unintended changes in weather, including shifts in rainfall, which might disrupt the ecosystems and agriculture. So, the best way I could describe it is if you ever seen One Piece, for those that actually have seen One Piece during the Alabasta arc, they used I believe it was called the rain powder thing. So, it basically, it's this sort of powder that when it's burned, it creates a rain cloud over a certain area to be able to artificially produce rain. But what it actually does is it takes the moisture and water out of the clouds that are nearby and shifts it to that specific area that's being burned. In turn, it's creating a massive drought in other areas because it's, again, taking the water away from it. So that is, I guess, one debate against uh, geoengineering or solar engineering. There's even people debating that it can have sort of ozone layer damage, like the stratospheric aerosol injection, which is part of the what was mentioned in this article. So going into a little bit further in depth into the article, it mentioned um, the policy analysis published in the Journal of Science on Friday highlights, or on Friday, it highlights the importance it is to talk to people on the ground before launching an experiment, especially one tied to planet altering consequences. So till recently, the thought of reflecting sunlight back into space to combat global warming um, seems to be rooted in science fiction. I mentioned that. So some researchers and their Silicon Valley backers want to put the theory to the test, and time is running out to establish rules of how to craft those experiments responsibly, which could help determine whether solar engineering do more good than harm. So the basically the Harvard researchers launched um, the project called uh, SCOPEX, which is short for Stratospheric Controlled Pertur- Pertur- Perturbation Experiment. I don't know, masturbation experiment, and it was launched back in 2017. It was to better understand any potential risks or benefits associated with social engineering. So it planned to conduct the first ever outdoor experiment using reflective particles. So they were going to release some of these aerosol particles into the stratosphere via balloon, and then pilot the balloon back through the plume to take measurements. And it was basically, the goal was to observe how the particles interact with each other and other elements and see if what potential risk could be coming from this. But the experiment never happened. This experiment was supposed to take place in Sweden in 2021, but it was scrapped after facing strong opposition from local indigenous leader. Um, A big point of contention was the researchers didn't initially reach out to the Saami Council. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Saami. Either way, the indigenous people. Um, it's the Saami Council is a represents the Sami indigenous people and members of the Scopex community didn't agree whether they should consult them or not because I guess they were going to do this experiment over their land, and they were the council was concerned that this would have had an impact on the land, the sky environment basically. So the council was just concerned that this was going to affect the lands, and there was also a lot of controversy swirling around solar engineering. So they wanted to be included in this. So, and local environmental advocates, including Swedish chapters of Greenpeace and Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth, they signed a letter to try to stop this experiment from happening. So, a lot of activists are consider solar engineering a sort of false solutions. The whole premise of this experiment was of injecting the aerosol particles was to kind of recreate the way that volcanoes temporarily cool the planet by releasing sulfur dioxide into the air. But sulfur dioxide might lead to acid rain, so that's why they were trying to go to more aerosol sort of way. The advisory committee ultimately recommended canceling the test flight in Sweden after they received the letters from the activists, and the Sami Council. And by 2023, Harvard had told the advisory committee that it had suspended the project and that it canceled it altogether in March of this year. The project struggled both with intense media attention and with how to address calls from the scientific advisory committee to broadly and formally engage with the public. Long story short, this scientific group was trying to conduct an experiment of whether or not solar engineering can be a thing by releasing particles into the air. But even some scientists are not in full agreement of if this should be a thing or there should be some sort of policy governance because people aren't in agreement of if it does work, who can basically control this sort of thing. We don't want people out here with sort of doomsday weapons that can control the weather. Even though there's a lot of conspiracy theories about, the government controlling the weather, um, chemtrails, and all that jazz. But yeah, this is something that I just saw and was looking into. Thought it was pretty neat and interesting. And let us know your thoughts on this. I just want to talk about this upcoming game that's been getting some hype recently. So on August 20th, there's going to be a game releasing called Black Myth Wukong. And it's essentially the game is inspired by the classic Chinese novel Journey to the West, and which features the legendary Monkey King Sun Wukong. So the game is exploring themes from Chinese mythology and folklore, and it's offering a fresh take on a well-known story. The gameplay itself, the game is going to be sort of an action RPG, and it's focused on combat and exploration. But there's also elements that kind of remind me of a Souls-like game. You know, you're really only going to have one weapon throughout the main game, which is the staff. You're gonna have some sort of focus ability. You can have the ability to cast magic spells or magic, and you're gonna have a meter for that, I believe. You have your basic jump and dodge button. And the interesting thing is there is no block button. The game, based on gameplay that I've seen, it's going to rely heavily on the dodge button. And this is where I guess the Souls like comparison come in. Because due to not having a block button, you also have a stamina meter and you're relying heavily on dodge. It's sort of reminding me of Bloodborne in a sense where you're it's going to be a fast-paced game. You don't really have a block button, but you're dodging, moving out the way, and just focusing more on attacking. Players can expect to a deep and intricate combat system blending traditional melee, blah 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 blah, melee, and melee attacks and magical abilities. And you can also transform because that is one of the abilities of Sung Wukong. I will say the visuals in this game is amazing. You know, the gameplay showed high quality graphics, detailed environments, and it's definitely bringing that mythological world to life eh, with this like stunning visual. It's honestly amazing. Um, the game is going to feature diverse landscapes from forests to creepy dungeons, um, reflecting the rich and varied world of the novel The Journey of the West. So, in terms of story wise, the narrative is going to delve into Sun Wukong's journey, expand on his character and the mythological lore surrounding him. The game promises to blend a blend of epic storytelling and personal character development. It's going to provide a both grand adventure and intimate look at the protagonist. I'm super excited by this. It's actually being developed by a Chinese game studio called Game Science. Kind of a weird name, but it is what it is. And this is um the studio is noted for its ambitious scope and high production values. The team behind the game expressed a commitment to blending traditional storytelling with modern mechanics. The dev themselves, they're known more for mobile um, games. So this is actually, I believe, their first major, I guess, title for like a console. And so far, things from what I've seen, it has the potential to be something good. Now, whether or not it actually lives up to the hype that's been going on is another story. We've seen plenty of games before where they'll showcase some sort of amazing environments, some amazing gameplay and stuff like that. But when the game comes out, it's complete dog trash. It's littered with bugs, littered with slow gameplay. It's not as fluid as the trailers or the initial gameplay video. Also, they might dumb down the graphics. Only time will tell to see if this game has the potential to do something good. But I really hope this game succeeds. I want it to be good because it has the potential to introduce a broader audience to Chinese mythology and folklore. It's a reimagining of a classic story, and it also contributes to the growing global interest in cultural diversities or and narratives in gaming. So I'm super excited for this game. It's dropping August 20th. So by the time this releases, it's gonna come out in like 2 days. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be picking this up. Not day one, but more than likely uh, the following weekend or something, just to give it a couple days of people trying it out. Giving the review, and also lets the developers work out any sort of bugs that happen on day one. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for Sung Wukong? Or, I mean, yeah, Black Myth Wukong. Let me know what you think about the game. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun shit. Last story that I want to get into here. It came across my timeline, my news feed recently. But there is a gamer out in Saudi Arabia that just got the Guinness World Record for having 444 gaming consoles connected to one TV. Yeah, you heard me. This dude has 444 gaming consoles connected to a single TV. One, just one TV. 444 gaming consoles. I bet you didn't even know there was that many gaming consoles. This guy from Saudi Arabia, his name is Ibrahim Al Nazir. I probably butchered that, and sorry. I don't know the exact pronunciation. I'm just going off of what I know off of Assassin's Creed, and that's probably fucked up. Either way, this dude from Saudi Arabia set the Guinness World Record for connecting 444 gaming consoles to a single TV, and his setup included a wide range of consoles, from like the Magnavox Odyssey to the newest console, the PlayStation 5 Slim. And it's all organized meticulously through cable management and other means. Ibrahim, I believe I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I'm just gonna keep calling him dude. So this dude had used over like 30 RCA switchers. If for those, I hope you know what an RCA cable is. It's the red, white, and yellow cables from back in the day. Yeah, no. If you're like a younger dude, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, old school gamers know what an RCA cable is. You got to put it on channel 3 after you plug it in, or go to input 1 or input 2. Had 30 switchers, 30 RCA switchers to connect some of these consoles, and over 12 HDMI switchers. And the crazy shit is this dude is using an Excel spreadsheet to manage those connections. So he sees his setup as both functional and a museum like display, and it's showcasing his dedication to gaming. And it's crazy to think about because he has a bunch of other consoles, and from the Xbox 360 to the Nintendo Switch, the Wii U. This dude even got a Sega Genesis, and he even has the extremely rare Super Acon, which was only released in Taiwan and China in '95. Dude even has a favorite for him, and this is a quote from the guy. For me, the best gaming console of all time, number one always, forever, Sega Genesis. My man is a Sonic fan. So again, yeah, used he uses an Excel spreadsheet so that he knows which switcher to turn on when he wants to display a certain console on the TV. That is the thing that the thing that intrigues me the most. I could not for the life of me think of the word that I was trying to say, but that is the thing that intrigues me the most. I want to see that spreadsheet. I don't like Excel. I hate Excel. I hate Microsoft Office with a passion because I have to troubleshoot it a lot, and it never works the way that I want it to. It's on my list of the top worst things to troubleshoot next to printers. Printers are the fucking antichrist. I want to see how he has this spreadsheet laid out. What's on it? How does it work together? What kind of weird brujeria does he have that allows him to know which switcher to turn off and on to display a certain console? I want to see his cable management too. What does his cable management look like? Because I know my cable management is complete dog shit. I will admit that. I'm terrible when it comes to cable management. So the dude plans to expand his setup soon. Um, he- gamers are always on the lookout for the latest console. They actually announced a Nintendo Switch 2. Um, well, there's been rumors about the Nintendo Switch 2, and it's expected to be announced in the next fiscal year. Sony has said that its popular PlayStation 5 is nearing the end of its life cycle, which is kind of crazy to think about because it doesn't feel like the PlayStation 5 has been out for that long. I had one at a certain point, but then I sold it. Either way, I still have the Xbox Series X. Crazy to think about it. We're already at the end of the PlayStation 5 life cycle. So they're probably going to be announcing PlayStation 6, maybe, or even a PlayStation 5 Pro. And a new Xbox should be coming out in 2028. So this dude's going to continue expanding his um, arsenal of consoles, and he's probably going to continue to hold the world record. I don't know anybody else that is even remotely close to having uh, this sort of collection. You can go down to your local game store, go to Just Press Play and get some of these consoles, but I don't think they have the extremely rare Super Acon that was released in Taiwan and China in '95. I don't think they have that. But if they do, they're probably not going to sell that. His collection is worth a lot of money. It's insane. So I'm going to be, up posting pictures like I normally do, but props to this guy. He has a passion, and he's select put everything together in on one goddamn TV. So at any point in time, he wants to hop on the Dreamcast, he can do that. Then he gets bored of that, he can switch to the PS3, go back to the Sega Genesis, turn on the Super Nintendo. You know, he has endless options. I know if that wasn't me in that situation, I would turn on one of the consoles. I'll turn on like the Super Nintendo, play 5 minutes, get bored, and then just sit there thinking about what else I could play. I'd be hopping between games so frequently, just because I would get bored after 5 minutes of playing. Dude, it's props to this guy. Has an amazing collection, and I hope his collection continues to grow. We're excited to see where this is gonna go. Yeah, with that, I will be calling it there. I know it's been a bit of a short episode, especially after editing and doing things that I need to do in post. Yeah, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for sticking by. This is episode 4 of the Attack at Random podcast. Um, we're gonna be coming back next week with episode 5. New news coming out, tech news, nerd related news, everything. Like, subscribe, comment, stick around. Thank you for rocking with us, even if you've been around for the previous bunch of episodes that I've only uploaded on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go check us out there. This is again a soft reboot of the whole thing, and I've been sticking consistent with it. I'm pretty proud of myself. Yeah, episode dropping every Sunday, recapping any sort of news that happened throughout the week. Stick around and enjoy. Catch you later. Peace.